You can find all the deck lists in the video and more at the link in the description down below. Let's get started. Pioneer might not have any professional events in the foreseeable future, but the format is still alive and well. Let's take a look back at the Pioneer Challenge results from this past weekend and see what's cooking. And apologies for this being a little bit late. Unfortunately, what I got for Christmas was the flu. So Saturday the 28th afternoon challenge had 49 players and was won by Rakdos Demons, but the two decks below it in the standings are what I'm really excited to talk about right now. Not one, but two Greasefang decks, neither of them being Abzan, took second and third place in this challenge. Esper Greasefang was the runner-up in the finals of this challenge, and this list has been floating around in a few variations for quite some time, but this one specifically took a page from its opponent's Rakdos Demons in the finals and ran Unholy Annex as its primary card advantage engine alongside the normal Greasefang, Okiba Boss, and Vehicles to Reanimate package. There were 4 Parhelion, as well as a singleton Sky Sovereign console flagship to go alongside the Rat Boss with everything going on there. So the deck also got a big boost in wanting blue with Kiora the Rising Tide. This legendary draw 2, discard 2 outlet does a fine Fable of the Mirror Breaker impression, but it also most importantly provides a backup plan of attack angle for the deck that naturally just wants to keep a fully stocked graveyard. Once Threshold is achieved, Kiora is going to start pumping out an 8/8 legendary Octopus token whenever it attacks, quickly closing out games even if you can't hit your combo. And yeah, even though it's a token and can just wind up getting Fatal pushed away, and it is legendary so you can get multiple, if Kiora sticks around, the token's going to come back every single turn. The rest of the deck has shifted away from Esper Greasefang's normal pitfalls, where it kind of can't choose between being a control deck with a combo finish package, or if it wants to be a combo deck with stubborn denial control backup aspects, and instead has kind of embraced the full old mid-range tech that the Raffined Scheming Seer and Shoulder the Apocalypse standard deck version used to run. With these two powerhouses in the deck, a package of disruption including Vanishing Verse and Thoughtseize, it makes the deck have a combo plan that's more of a backup than the only way to win, or not really a backup, but a way to just kind of win out of nowhere. The sideboard even has a pivot into Blood Baron of Vizcapa, as well as Alendra Saint of Dusk, to make its high life total across games a weapon to be reckoned with, being able to swap out the combo as well entirely and just play a straight up fair mid-range game once your opponent brings in all this now useless graveyard hate. Now the third place Fang deck took a different color and splashed it into the palette of colors, and that being Mardu Greasefang, another kind of Greasefang pilot fan favorite from the early days when this card was first spoiled. The red in the deck offers not only Fable the Mirror Breaker, Pioneer All-Star to dig and enable the vehicle part of the deck, but also gives you access to 2 powerful cards to play alongside it, Bloodtide Harvester and Fear of Missing Out, also known as FOMO. Harvester naturally helps discard spells for Greasefang, or discard the vehicles for Greasefang with the blood tokens, and it can be a removal spell for just about any single creature in the game in the later stages if you copy it with Reflection of Kikijiki. Likewise, FOMO gets you a quick way to end the game if you can enable Delirium, giving you an extra combat step to present a potential 15 damage with your first Greasefang combo swing, then untap your Greasefang and swing for an additional 17 more, since the angels from the first combat and the FOMO can't attack again without haste. Well, FOMO can attack, but it won't enable again. Likewise, FOMO with the Reflection presents the opportunity to have as many FOMOs and combats as you do mana by untapping FOMO or attacking, and then making a copy with Reflection to untap FOMO, and then repeating the process for each mana that you have. It's a little bit of a convoluted process and looks very awkward when we have it on camera at our LGS as well. It's a hair shy of infinite tokens like the modern version of the deck wanted doing with Splinter Twin, but this second combo is something to look out for, even though it's a little bit slower and still a very decent backup plan to have. It means that your opponent really can't just leave you with a Reflection or a FOMO left unchecked even in the early stages of the game. Of course, utilizing cards like Overlord of the Baelmerk and making copies of that while milling multiple times a turn isn't that bad of a graveyard-based strategy deck backup plan either. Although half of this top 8 on Saturday was Demons, the other half of it was absolute bangers, as the 6th place deck was also something quite unique in the form of Boros Heroic, which was a tried and true archetype of the format, but it packed 4 full copies of Leyline of Resonance. Foregoing black for white brought back Illuminator Virtuoso, but no other white cards in the main deck actually. A singleton Inti, Seneschal of the Sun, helps to boost card velocity and adds another trampling effect, while our Felonious Rage made for a slightly weaker turn inside out copies 5 and 6. I think it's supposed to be maybe Felonious, not Felonious, but you know, that's what happens when I'm just reading the card name for the first or second time ever. Sideboard is where the white really shines, however, offering a powerhouse hate pieces like Rest in Peace and of course Sheltered by Ghost, alongside cards like Wear, Tear for the plethora of enchantments that are running around in the format right now, and 2 copies of Lauren's Escape for protection. Now, rounding out this top 8 was an Enigmatic Incarnation list, taking a time machine back a few months when Bring to Light was played in the deck, giving this toolbox of enchantments and creatures a backup win condition and a tutor all in one. By running a Singleton Valky in the normal Enigmatic Incarnation deck list, this deck now threatens the same Tybalt tech that Niv to Light does, with just 5 changes to a deck altogether that still gets to benefit from having Yorion as a companion. The list's 5 changes are 4 Bring to Lights and 1 Valky. That's it. Whereas these decks used to play towards Agent of Treachery, this time the Incarnation is looking to pot its way into big hitters in the format like Titan of Industry, Angel of Serenity for removal, which is a blast from the past, or just Atraxa Grand Unifier to end games quickly. A singleton Zur Red Overlord and a full 4 green Overlords gives a boost of power, and a backup plan if tutoring for Haymakers isn't working out for some reason. Now, Sunday morning, December 29th challenge saw 43 players battling it out, as the same Rakdos Greasefang deck and pilot made the finals this time around against a slightly different Enigmatic Incarnation deck without Bring to Light. This list was a little heavier on the Overlord count, maxing out on the Bant color avatars and Zers in general, while packing a blast from the past in Linvala the Preserver as a slightly bigger, slightly less triggerful Beza that flies. It's an angel. Now, unfortunately for the rest of the Pioneer Brewers out here, it took until the top 16 to find some newer looking lists, as a similar Ninjas list from my last week's video took 13th place overall, and a deck after my own heart took 14th. Mono Black Devotion. The twist on the deck not only had the classic Gary Grey Merchant win condition, but also packed a small toolbox graveyard type package with cards like the double black Pip Fiend Artisan, double black Pip Isarath the Awakener, try saying double black Pip 15 times fast, and of course the double Pip Overlord of the Baelmerk. Find and bring back heavy hitters such as another triple Pip this time around, Bloodleather of Aclazotz, and double Pip Grey Merchant of Asphodel for a 1-2 punch of tons of damage. Now, Ayara, First of Locthwain, turns all of your creatures into basically Cauldron Familiars when they enter, also giving you a card advantage engine to sacrifice some of your early fodder, and a way to pick off small creatures alongside inclusions in the deck like 1-drop Gnawing Vermin is. Now, the 44-person Sunday evening challenge did again see Rakdos Demons, however this time splitting the finals with a Simic Merfolk deck of all decks. Now, Pilot Claudio is not a stranger to winning these challenges whatsoever, but they wound up jamming 4 Agatha's Soul Cauldron into a list that already has cards like Cenote Scout that can put counters on themselves, while packing a full 4 Kiora's Follower and a singleton Forensic Researcher in order to establish the tap-untap loop for infinite tokens with Deeproot Pilgrimage in play. Soul Cauldron allows anything with a counter on it to become one of these untappers so long as you exile the card with the Cauldron, threatening to combo off even if you remove them from play. Now, there are also 4 Kiora the Rising Tide as another card velocity and backup win com with Smuggler's Copter, helping you hit threshold relatively quickly in this deck list despite it not really having any other graveyard synergies. All in all, this is a really great weekend to try out your Kiora the Rising Tide cards, as I think this card is going to have a big impact in Pioneer going forward. Now, a different pilot did wind up taking a very similar Mardu Greasefang list to 8th place in this challenge, making multiple top performances for the older Pioneer combo deck across multiple colors this weekend alone. Now, I said that it was a good time to be playing your Kiora the Rising Tides, but if you're an older Pioneer player, it might be a good time to break out your Greasefangs, your Parhelions, and your Sky Sovereigns again and just give the old Rat Graveyard and a Vehicle combo deck another whirl, because right now it seems like Greasefang combo is the way to go so long as you're not running into a lot of mass graveyard removal. There's a low number of licensed hearse currently. Yeah, Phoenix is still flying around out there, but you're not really running into Leyline of the Voids and Rest in Pieces like you were in previous iterations of the format, so Greasefang combo is largely unchecked if we're able to remove the unlicensed hearse or put multiple things into the graveyard so that they can't target everything. So that's what was cooking this past weekend in Pioneer. What have you been playing, or what are you looking out for in the format? You can let me know down in the comments below, and while you are down there, please feel free to give the video a thumbs up if you'd enjoyed it, so that you can let YouTube know that much like Kiora or Greasefang, you are really liking the content that I am putting out there. Of course, I do want to give a moment to shout out the members who help support this video specifically, as well as my channel in general. Now, if you want to become part of these memberships and you want to get the benefits that these people have, such as Discord access or some personal deck checks of your own, you can click the join button below the video or on my home YouTube channel page so you can show your devotion to the channel. And as always, you can tap that subscribe button to stay up to date on the latest deck techs, metagame analysis, and just in general, Magic the Gathering content from me. See you at the Pioneer tables!